Hey everybody, it's Beth. Welcome to Infinite Garden. If you caught my video last week, I mentioned that I'm going to be starting a period of time the next 6 months where I'm going to be refraining from buying things. I feel like the last couple of years, especially during the coronavirus pandemic, I resorted to using shopping as entertainment. And although it didn't get out of hand, I do feel like a little bit of a cleanse is in order. So I'm going to be practicing a no buy period. I made a video, I'll link it, I'll put a card up either way there. You can check it out if you want to hear more details about it. But basically I won't be doing any extraneous entertainment related shopping in the categories of clothing and accessories, perfume and makeup. And in terms of skincare, I'm putting myself on a challenge to use up the skincare I currently have in my stock before I buy anything new. And then if I run out of something essential, I can replace it. But nothing that I don't need when I have something good still on the shelf. So for the first time on my video, I'm going to share my empties. I love watching these kinds of videos. I actually am very curious about what people use. And when you use something up, you know, it's one thing to go to YouTube for a review that's like hot off the press as a brand new product. A lot of times when people are, especially in skincare, when people are brand new to a product and maybe have only applied it for a week or something like that, you can get a pretty good immediate impression of something, but it's different when somebody's gone through an entire container of something and used it all the way up. There's a very different perspective that comes, so I feel like that's the value of watching empties videos. And I'm hoping to just do that here in a really relaxed kind of format. I have kind of a lot of stuff. I have everything from drugstore staples that I'm sure a lot of you have to some really precious, kind of rare, high-end skincare samples that have come as like bonus free samples when I've made orders with some luxury brands. So I've got some really kind of new to me stuff that was fun to try out. So if you want to just grab a cup of coffee, I've got mine here. I'm going to go through starting with a category of hair, moving through body, then skincare, and then makeup. And in this mix, I've got everything from full-size products to samples, as well as products I didn't use up but are like certainly expired. So I'm going to be calling this, if you clicked on my thumbnail, I'm sure you saw it, but it's Empties, Expired, and Retired. And that's everything I've got here for you today. Okay, what did I say I was starting with? I feel like I said hair. Did I say hair? Let's start there. Okay, so two things that I used up in the month of January, I've talked a lot about on my channel. I have a whole video devoted to this hair balm. I used up a whole container of Sisley's Hair Ritual, that their brand is Hair Ritual, and I used up a Restructuring Nourishing Balm. This is a product, I think I've used up 3 of these now. I bought some of this for my mother for Christmas because it is quite expensive. Let me get my notes out. This is currently selling for $130, although I understand Sisley's prices are about to go up. I do have a backup in my collection, so I did not take advantage of this like last minute contact from my Sisley rep. I tend to buy these 1 or 2 at a time when there's a Sisley sale. This is 4.4 ounces of a stiff balm that you dig out and then melt in your hands and apply to your hair. I have very coarse hair, and when I started using this product, I still growing out my dyed blonde hair, and so I had a lot of hyper damaged, like multiple times bleached hair at the bottom of my hair, which was like just getting drier and worse by the minute. And this product was a lifesaver for me as I grew out my extremely damaged blonde ends and let my new hair grow in. And what's interesting is that now that I have this kind of like undyed, undamaged hair, I find I don't need this one quite as often, but I love it. I do use heat treatment on my hair, and I think this has some replenishing characteristics, but right now I just have to say my hair is so healthy right now. Before I was using the Hair Ritual, the Nourishing Balm, at least once a week, sometimes more when I had those blonde ends. Now I'm more like once or twice a month. So I think I'm going to continue to use this product. It's been extremely good for me and good for my hair. And now that I'm even using it a little bit less, I expect to use it a single tub for longer. I love it. That's a staple for me. Next on my channel, I've talked a ton about this Kerastase Elixir Ultime. It's the L'Huile Original, the original oil. And I think I mentioned that I couldn't possibly know how many times I've purchased this particular product. I used to buy it at the salon where I got my hair done, and then when I couldn't go there anymore as regularly because of coronavirus, I'm getting it from Sephora. It's been pretty much nonstop. This one sells for $51. This is a divine smelling, really high quality hair oil that is mixed with some silicones, but it's a good protector from heat treatment, and it's also something that I use after I've blown out my hair. Because I have such coarse curly hair, when I blow it out, sometimes I have to protect it from, you know, frizzing up or whatever, and I find that this particular oil is good to use throughout the period of days between my blowouts at the ends. It's really good, and although it's empty, I had a backup, and I also have a bottle of the Sisley Precious Hair Oil already open. So I'm going to finish up the Sisley hair oil, and then when that's up, then I'll use this. So it's entirely possible that in the next 6 months during my no-buy period, I may not actually have to buy any hair oil just because I've over-purchased on some level. I stocked up. And I historically haven't really been a big stocker. There's something about the past couple of years. There were a couple of times that I went to go buy something that I relied on and it was empty, or like the shelves were empty, or it was out of stock on Sephora because of the supply chain issues we've had. So it's also like triggered this little thing in me where it's like when I do find something that I like, I feel more inclined to buy multiples. And I don't think that's the worst thing ever, but I did take a minute over the holidays. I had some time off from work between Christmas and New Year's, and I was just like digging through and organizing a little bit. I don't know if you guys like to do that. And I was like, okay, Beth, you've got like a lot of stock here. Time to use up some of this stock. Like, there's a limit, right? Like these things can expire. You can't store them for 40 years. Like you gotta, if you bought it, you've got to use it up. Moving on. So because I buy my hair ritual from a Sisley rep in usually 1s or 2s during a Sisley sale, I have here, and I have in my stock, I have for many days to come, lots of Sisley samples. And I want to share some of those. So I tried last night, this is a sample of the pre-shampoo purifying mask with white clay. It's hair and scalp care. And I was really interested in the scalp benefits. So I have very oily hair. I have an oily scalp, and that's pretty good for my hair type because it is coarse. It's a good combo to have for the most part. And so when I do blow out my hair and it goes a few days, I can though have like pretty noticeably oily hair. So this time I knew I was gonna blow out my hair last night, and I thought it had been like many days between my blowouts because it's the dead of winter and I've just not really been going outside. It's been sub-zero at times. So whatever, I've been chilling at home and my blow dry just lasted longer and my scalp was really oily. This is maybe not interesting, but anyway, I used this clay mask on my scalp. So what I did is I sectioned my hair and then I just applied it. I kind of just like got into my fingers and just worked it in and tried to mostly just apply it to my scalp, and I left it up in sections, and I left it up for a while. This, it says for 10 minutes. I definitely had it on for 10 minutes. It might have been a little bit more, but I found this to be pretty nice. I don't know, I wouldn't mind like a larger sample, more than just a single use, but it did feel like it was not drying to my scalp. I did feel like it had a nice purifying feeling. You know, if you ever use a clay mask, sometimes it just sort of like invigorates and kind of tightens the skin. I felt that with my scalp, and I don't see anything today that indicates a dryness or that it stripped moisture away. So I don't know, with my new hair health that I'm used to, I think I'd be more likely to use a product like this. This would maybe not have been interesting to me when I was still dyeing my hair. My scalp was often irritated from the dye, and I just don't, it was just more aggravated and angry all the time. I don't think I would have craved a clay mask, but this time it felt pretty good. So I did like this. Kind of interested in exploring some more clay scalp masks. I'm super interested in your opinion. I think the hair scientist has left comments before talking about some clay masks, so I'm very curious, but this is a good one. I just had one little sample, but if you wanted to buy the full size, it's 200 mLs, which is, what is that, like 6.6 ounces, and it's $100, which is, you know, pretty costly for a hair product, but I did think it was a nice one and I would like to try it again personally. Okay, that's hair. I'm not really sure how to be organized here. I guess I'm just gonna have stuff all over the place. Okay, on to body. I'm gonna start with my favorite OG drugstore lotion. I went through a bottle of Nivea. This is their original formula with the pump. Got it at Target. I don't know how much I paid for it. Somewhere between $5 and $10. I probably bought 2 at a time. I've got a closet that has more than one bottle waiting in the wings for me here. I've definitely gone around the bend and explored high-end body lotions for sure. I'm not saying I won't continue to look at high-end body lotions, but I think it's good to have your like drugstore favorite. Nivea is good. It's a very dry time of year. It's winter. I need a lot of lotion. It's nice to have one that I feel works well for me, that it also I don't like worry about using up. I feel like I can just go ahead and use all that I need because it's a well-priced product. I love it. On the other end of the spectrum, I did sample a Sisley body cream. I sampled their Velvet Nourishing body cream with saffron flowers. I have 2 samples here that led to like a good full body application. This is really lovely. One thing I know some people get kind of indignant about luxury skincare products, and I think there's a lot of logic behind that. But for the most part, the luxury skincare products that I've tried, the ones in the brands that I like, they work. I came to Sisley because I had an eczema problem with my skin, and I found their products to be non-irritating and very nourishing and healing. So I became a big fan of Sisley then, and I have to admit I have a little brand loyalty with them and a little brand identification. Just personally, it's like a brand I love, you know? Ugh, makes me weak sometimes. I also ran through 2 hand creams. I did this exercise where I went through all my bags. I opened up every purse that I have, ones that I haven't used in a while. There's still stuff in those purses. Backpacks, work bags, day bags, the whole bit. And I just gathered up everything, and I found a ton of nearly empty hand lotions. And so I went through 2 of them. I managed to use up 2 of my most empty ones. I used up a little tube of Peony hand cream I bought at an Asian grocery store that I really like to go to that has a large kind of health and beauty section, and they carry a lot of Korean products. This is by Medi flower, and it smelled lovely. And then I have an empty bottle of the Glossier. Have you ever seen this before? This is their hand cream. It comes with this little cap, and then you squeeze. Ooh, is there a little bit left? Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, that wasn't empty at all, so now I'm using this lotion. You can at least get a review of it. There may be a little bit left, but if you've been interested in the Glossier hand lotion, I'll tell you this. It has a lovely slippy feeling. It's not like a stiff one. I don't feel like you have to like work it in. It glides nicely. It seems to absorb readily. It doesn't stay greasy. So in terms of a formula, if you want to have a hand lotion, I think most people will be very pleased with this one to have around. It does smell like Glossier U, which is a perfume that they make, so this is fragranced for sure. Their fragrance, however, is really super subtle. It has ambroxan in it, which is kind of a little bit musky, and it's got some violet and powder notes. So this is, I think, a unisex scent. It ends up smelling kind of clean and polished. Not clean like soap, but clean a little bit like makeup powder fresh, but not powdery and overwhelming. Anyway, I think it's a pleasant scent. I don't think it will necessarily overpower another scent that you have, but if you don't like musks, maybe you won't find it appealing. It's a good one. I think the packaging is kind of a lot. It feels like a lot of plastic to me. I understand the value of this particular packaging type, but there's something about it now that kind of turns me off because of how much plastic it is. Oh, and I didn't say the Peony Blossom hand cream. I'm not really sure how much that cost. I've looked on Amazon. You can get like a pack of 6. I probably overpaid for it, but I bought it just as a onesie at the grocery store. It would have been like $3, maybe $4 at most. And the Glossier hand cream sells for $18, which is just kind of a lot, although it is a nice formula. And finally, a deodorant I really like. This is the Kosasport. This is a chemical deodorant. They sell it in a scent that I have not tried, and this one is unscented. This is the one that I buy. And what this is, it's really like an AHA serum that you use topically as deodorant, and that AHA is supposed to slow down like oil production, just like it would on your face. So AHAs are really good to clear your skin's congestion. I guess in a topical deodorant, it sort of slows down the parts of you that might end up smelling bad. I find this to be extremely effective. Goes on like a thin serum, smells like nothing, and absolutely works beautifully for about 24 hours and not too much longer than that. But it doesn't leave any marks on clothes. It doesn't add any scent. It doesn't do anything that irritates me. So far, this has been my favorite. This one goes for about $15 at Sephora. So I've often bought this like during the Sephora sale. I'll buy a couple all at once. I do have one left in stock. Now onto skincare, where things get a little more serious. I want to set the table real quick just so you know my background with skincare. I grew up in my household. My mother wore a little bit of makeup, but not very much, but she was very serious about skincare. When you would open up the fridge, you know, where the condiments would be, there'd be condiments, but then there'd also be, you know, a number of jars of skincare that she kept in the fridge. You know, she was a pioneer at that time of keeping her skincare fresh. Anyway, that's how I grew up. And then when I was in my early 20s and 30s, I really struggled with my skin. I had consistent breakouts, especially around the chin. I had some hormonal acne, and then just some acne that comes from having the skin type that I have. And I also had eczema and dryness. So I was battling, you know, very serious combination skin, and I was rarely happy with what I found. It was when I was in my late 20s, early 30s that I began to invest in my skincare. I had been, you know, professionally, I had advanced in my career. I had a little more money to work with, and I started going to a facialist who recommended products to me. And so I got into that sort of like regular facial thing and using products that were sort of, you know, I was led to by somebody who knew my skin well and knew what to tell me to do. And I saw major improvements. I really needed the help of somebody who knew what the products were and what they did. And I got in the habit, so that's like over 10 years ago, I got in the habit of using better products for my skin, and I've had a ton of success with it. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm of course always on the hunt for well-priced products that work for me. I know they exist, and when I find them, I kind of grab them with both hands, but I do sometimes need to pay for the things that work for me. I'm going to start with my staples. I went through a bottle of the Drunk Elephant's A Passioni retinol cream. I started using this retinol cream 2 years ago, right before the pandemic. I kind of started doing this at the same time I decided I was going to grow up my hair. I noticed my skin was showing more fine lines and wrinkles. I was a little bit, you know, it's early 40s. And I was noticing that the parts of my skin where I had sun damage before were kind of persistently showing dark spots, and I was looking to get past that. And I decided I would introduce a retinol into my routine. This is a very strong one. It's at 1%. This is really strong. I think this is the strongest you can get over the counter. And I loved it. When I started using it, it was very harsh and I had to work my way into it. I started a little too cold. But after 2 years, I have found that my skin has been consistently clear. I've had very few breakouts. I get an occasional, like once every few months, maybe like a hormonal zit or something like that. But in terms of congestion and zits, I feel like for the first time in my life, my skin has been beautifully clear. Retinol also promotes collagen buildup, so it's supposed to help from underneath kind of just pad up where you have fine lines. And I do think if I compare my skin from before I started to now, I do feel like it is more even in tone, it is bouncier, and it is less acne prone. This product has really been super effective for me. It goes for $74. I tend to buy it around the Sephora sale, so I do have another one I just opened. As soon as this one was used up, I opened the next one that I bought back at the 20% off Sephora sale this fall. So I love that product. It's a staple for me. I also finished up something that this was my first time trying this. This is the Shisedo Ultimune, help. It's a power infusing concentrate. So I ended up finding this product because Sephora was offering sample sizes that were kind of large like this. I used this one up too. So I tried this sample and I really liked it. So what this is a hydrating serum. So like after you wash your face morning or night, you would put this on right away after washing and it would restore moisture to your face. I found this to be extremely effective and I really liked using it. I also felt like it went away right away. So in terms of like what it left behind in the morning, if I was planning to put makeup on, I felt like it just sort of like disappeared into my skin and I could feel that it was hydrated and plump, but there was nothing on top of it. Really elegant formula. I loved it. And when I used up every last drop of this, then I went hunting. I knew I had one more of these hanging around that was already partly open. So I used up every drop of this too. Will I repurchase this? I have a couple of other hydrating serums right now in my medicine cabinet that are open and expiring currently. This is an example of in my no-buy where I can't repurchase until I've used everything else. Might I repurchase this? Maybe. So this one is $140 and you get 2.5 fluid ounces. This looks like a big bottle because it's kind of tall and whatever, but it's not even 3 full ounces. And it does come out in like a pump form. You can do 1 or 2. I would usually do 2 pumps. It's really lovely, but at $140, it is expensive. So I want to run through the other products that I have and see if I can get a similar result from them. But I had nothing but good things to say about this particular product. When you buy a Passioni, they send along a little mini of the Hydra Intensive Hydration Serum. I think this is a hyaluronic acid serum. It's good. I did it one time. These little samples they get you, especially if you want to try something new. You try a little sample of something and it seems like something good. It's easy to get sucked in. So I have actually purchased a full-sized Hydra before, and it's a good hydrating serum, kind of used the same way you would use this Shisedo one. And I liked it just fine, but I didn't feel compelled to repurchase it. It's $48 for that bottle, so it would be significantly less than the Shisedo. If it does roughly the same job, I can see why you might choose this over a more expensive product, but I didn't feel like it was doing a whole lot for me. Anyway, I use it up though when they send the sample. It's perfectly nice. What they're trying to tell you is that if you're going to use retinol, you need a lot of hydration, and that's true. I need far more hydration with this retinol than the Hydra can provide. The Hydra is like step 1 of hydration, and there's like occlusive masking that happens as well. So the Hydra is fine, but it's not like everything to me. How's everybody doing? Do we love samples? I love samples. Samples are such a trick. They're like a blessing and a curse. Let's talk about this some more. Let's talk about some other samples that I worked through. One is from Sisley. This is their Hydraglobal Serum. So this is the anti-aging hydration booster. I'm kind of putting the serums all together. So this is a serum from a line that I've tried before. My first extremely expensive face cream was the Hydraglobal cream that they sell. That cream at the time, this was even years ago, was over $250. I'm sure it still is. It may even be higher than that. I didn't look that one up. This serum here sells for $290 if you buy the full size. I knew that I would like this. I knew I would. It's a product line that I love. Sisley's fantastic. It's always just been this particular line. This particular line has been fiscally unsustainable for me, and so while I love it, I just haven't really locked in and bitten down. But I do think this was nice. I was happy to have a large sample of this and used. I maybe got 4 uses out of this one. It is winter time, so I'm kind of applying more than I would in the summertime. It's lovely. It's a beautiful serum. It's $290, and it's something that, in the course of a year, I would need to repurchase several times because it's something that I would use day and night. In short, I think the Hydraglobal line is a little bit out of my lane, though lovely. I'm always happy to get a sample of it. Speaking of out of my lane entirely, I also had lurking around from Guerlain. I had from their skincare offerings a little sample of Orchidee Imperiale Brightening Cream. This is the Radiance Concentrate. This was a product that was entirely unknown to me. I haven't watched any YouTube videos about it. I haven't been sent advertising for this. I wouldn't have known this existed if it hadn't come in a package. I'd ordered something from Guerlain, a skincare item, and I did it directly from them, even though I could have gotten it from Sephora because I knew they would send me all kinds of samples, and they did. Here we go. This product I used for 3 days, maybe 4. I was using it in the morning because it was talking about Radiance. I wasn't sure if there was going to be some sort of I wasn't sure if there was going to be an ingredient that specifically sat on my face and created radiance through a makeup-y effect, or if they were saying that the ingredients in this will eventually make your own skin radiant on its own. So after I used it for a couple of days, my number one thought was that, well, this is very lovely, but heavily perfumed. It had an overwhelming fragrance. When I opened it up, it was powerfully, powerfully perfumed. I am a huge Guerlain perfume fan. If at some point you want me to share my Guerlain perfume collection, I'm happy to do that. I think that this is, in terms of skincare, seemed more perfumed than I would like, as someone who's willing to accept some in my skincare. If you're not into perfume in your skincare, this would have to be a hard pass. After I used it, I did want to go to their website to understand what this product was for. I had no idea what it was, how much it cost, what the actual packaging was like, and I found the packaging to be exquisitely beautiful. One thing that you can tell about Guerlain in their makeup and in their skincare is that, you know, as a perfume house first, they take such great care with their bottles that they do have that sensorial kind of experience that you get from a beautiful perfume bottle. They're not always perfectly mated to the purpose at hand. Anyway, in looking this one up, I also noticed that this is meant to lighten your skin. I'll put the text up from the site so you can see why I'm saying this. It says that it can lighten skin up to 2 shades, and I don't have that need. I'm not looking to lighten my skin by 2 shades, so this product is not for me. It sells for $525 an ounce in this beautiful jar. Now you know. Okay, moving backwards a little bit, I do have a couple of cleansers. So I'm a double cleanser. I use a makeup remover form first and then finish up with a cleanser. So I was curious to try Clinique's Take the Day Off. It's a cleansing balm. So this is the one that you would use. You would scoop out a little of the balm, melt it, and then use that to melt off all of your makeup. It definitely works. A large full container of it is $34. I'm not yet at the point where I want to buy this, but I have liked having these around. The cleanser that I use right now is extremely effective in doing that, but sometimes if I use a little extra eye makeup, the balm has been useful. So I haven't been using this one as like an everyday take off all of my makeup. It's sort of been like great for tough jobs. So having a mini is good. I don't know if I need the big one, but it works. It works. In terms of going all over my face, sometimes I feel like the balm is so balmy that it feels a little bit too much. I don't like love the aesthetics of the feeling if I do use it beyond just like for spot removal. I'm like lukewarm on this one. Okay, sunscreen. I'm a sunscreen everyday person, and I care a lot about my sunscreen because I do use it every single day. I have high standards, and the last couple of years I did go on a mission to find the perfect sunscreen. I don't know if this is perfect, but I'm willing to settle here for a long time. In my quest to find the perfect sunscreen, I did come across Clinique's Pep Start. It's $23 for an ounce. It is SPF 50. One of the things I like about it is it does provide a glow. So if you've tried the Supergoop Glow Screen, I would put it closer to the Supergoop Glow Screen than I would to their Unseen sunscreen, but maybe like a little more toward the middle. I think it provides a bit of a makeup-y radiant effect. And I love that. I love that both because I do think it provides some evening to my skin tone. And when I do put very light foundation over it, which is what I use, I'm not a full coverage person. I'm a very light foundation user. I find that I can use even a little bit less foundation. I can work with them together. They kind of seamlessly go together. And when I powder it down, it powders down beautifully. So there are a lot of days when I don't use any foundation or tinted anything. I just use the Pep Start and make that my face glow for the day. Pep Start, maybe a little powder. So anyway, I'm obsessed with this. I have many backups. That one's like my favorite, and it did kind of get me back into considering Clinique. So when I found this product and I decided I really liked it, I waited until there was a Clinique free gift situation, and I bought several of these to get to the spend that I needed to qualify for the free gift. I forgot exactly what it was. But that is how it all begins again. You know, they're back in my heart. I'm trying some more of their products, and Clinique has reintroduced themselves to me in a way that I do find interesting because I've been in this sort of luxury skincare space for a while. I think I've clocked in what it is that I need, and I'm starting to get a sense of what I do need to spend more on because it has an expensive active ingredient I need, and what I can maybe get by on something in the Clinique price range rather than, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times that, because it basically does the same thing. Talking about you moisturizers. Okay, I have a sample I'm going to briefly talk about because I think it's off the market. This was a Sephora Points perk. It's from First Aid Beauty. It's a weightless liquid mineral sunscreen. I tried this sample during that same period of time when I was trying to find the best sunscreen. This is the worst sunscreen. It's not empty. This one's a retired. I refuse to use this, and I think it's taken off the market. It is grainy. It is very deep in tone. I don't want to put it on me. It is greasy and tinted at a level that does not work for me personally. And on top of all of it, it has the audacity to be grainy. So this is a no. And I think it was a no for everybody because you can't even get it anymore. So moving on. Okay, and finally we're on to makeup. This one should be quick. I have one empty. This is Glossier's Lash Slick. This is their mascara, and I love it. I've had it a million times. It is, some people really hate this one. This is kind of interesting because there are a lot of like makeup people on YouTube who abhor this particular mascara, and I understand why they say that. I just love it. It is basically meant to make your existing lashes look even a little bit longer, but not thickened necessarily. So I love that. I love a big, fat, spidery, goopy mascara in certain situations, but not necessarily in the workplace. This is a really nice one, especially for 40 plus. If you have lashes that you wish were a little bit longer, this one has a tubing effect, and it lays down little filaments at the ends of your lashes, so it actually makes your lashes appear longer without making you look overly made up. I think it's lovely, and I always have one. 16 bucks, it's like just a little bit more than the drugstore, but not as much as a high-end mascara. I love it. I don't think I have another one in my arsenal, but I have many other mascaras, so I won't be able to use Lash Slick again for a while until I run through all my other mascaras. It could be a good long time, but I do love this one and wanted to speak highly of it. And then I have 3 eyeliners that are expired. I've been going through my makeup and trying to declutter things, and one thing I noticed is that stuff that I was trying back in the day, some of it, when I left it behind, I didn't make any decisions. I just left it in the drawer. And so 2 of these, one's from Glossier, one's from Fenty. These are their eyeliners that have the marker tip. I'll put that right there. Anyway, Glossier's is called Pro Tip and Fenty's is called the Fly Liner. I didn't look up either price for these. These are now dried out. They're markers, and just like an art supply, they did eventually dry out. I don't really like this method. I thought first I would try the Pro Tip, and I didn't really care for that one very much. When Fenty came out, when Rihanna brought hers out, I was like, oh, Rihanna, maybe you're gonna do it differently. I should try it over here, which is silly because I've used enough eyeliner over the years to kind of know that this type isn't really working for me, but I felt like it was maybe something I just needed to work harder at. Got this, don't like it, don't use it. I don't think I'll ever buy another marker tip eyeliner ever again. I've had enough experience with them, and it's not the look I'm going for. We'll see, things change, but as of right now, I'm loving a more subtle eyeliner effect, and this provides a very obvious one. And then I also had a mini of this Marc Jacobs gel highliner gel crayon. So this is one that I got from, I think probably a Sephora Rewards points. And it's gel, and it's just dried up. Unfortunately, when I originally got it, it was kind of wet and jelly and really laid down a nice flat sticky look. But I got bored with it, moved on, tried something else, and this one just dried up in the tube. So these 3 are all dried up, not usable, and I don't intend to repurchase them because none of them were able to really wow me necessarily. So that's everything for January. It's kind of a lot. I have, you guys, so many samples. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the samples because there's more to come, and I've got a whole bunch of other good stuff coming too that I'm working my way through. I hope you found this interesting. Are there any products here that you like, that you don't like? Is there anything that you think I should consider checking out in the future when it's time for me to find a really great hydrating serum? I definitely want to hear about that. That's one that I haven't really locked in on, and I would like to find a great hydrating serum that's maybe a little less expensive than this Shisedo one, but I did really love the Shisedo one. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Talk soon.